Pow! And we are totally live, rocking and rolling. How you doing, guys? We got ourselves an absolute show lined up for you today. It's the off season, but we're here. I'm here. You're here. We're all here. We're rocking. We are rolling. Today we are going to be discussing ex-college football star Diego Pavia hit with a brutal reality during NFL draft. Sportscasters say we'll then talk about in the college ranks, kind of bridging that gap between the draft and the news. Chiefs exec on how NIL deals are shrinking. They were in the pool, NFL draft talent pool, that is, keeping college players in school longer. What can you say? The talent's down because I was in the pool. I was in the pool. Shrinkage, as they say, of both George and the talent pool. We'll see what NFL VP player of personnel Ryan Nutt has to say. The jokes just write themselves, guys. We'll then talk about the Detroit Lions. I'm going to throw this bad boy on pause. I said pause. Who was the Lions' worst pick in the 2026 NFL Draft? Make sure that you comment that down below. Jeremy Reisman has a think piece for us over at POD. And then finally, we'll finish the day off by sliding on over to A to Z Sports, trying on an article by Mike the Slipper Payton, 4 still available free agents who can help the Lions after the 2026 NFL Draft, including a former Lions second-round pick. There's just never appeasing anybody in the second round for the Detroit Lions. We'll cover all of that. We will take your chats, and I'll give you my insight on what we can accomplish. I got to give a big shout out to all you guys at Mad Hatter Nation, absolutely doing gangbusters on the numbers yesterday. Yo, wow, we big old boost in subscribers. Big shout out. Thank you guys so much for all of that. Rumble as well, kicking tail, right? Going to keep it clean for the first part of the show here. Kick and tail over on Rumble. And, of course, Kick. Hey, Kick. We picked up another guy kicking over there on Kick. That's what we appreciate, guys. Before we move forward, though, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, you got to be subscribed if you want to comment with Mad Hatter Nation down over on YouTube. Got to have a little bit of skin in the game there, you know what I'm saying? Gonna then go ahead and like this video for me and share it around with everybody you've ever met as we go article by article. Go ahead and copy that link right on your clipboard, dude. It's the #1 way to help us grow. Dude, I appreciate it. You guys are absolutely awesome. Now that all those actions are done and out of the way, we are still rocking the Hawaiian shirt because today is my final day of vacation before we got to get back to the wage cage. All right, guys, I'm going to kick over to Jocko, and then we're going to get into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
All right, guys. Ex-college football star Diego Pavia, or the Diva Pavlova, hit with brutal reality during NFL draft. Sportscasters say, Dan Patrick pointed out Pavia's friendship with Johnny Football. Hello, draft from the past. A little blast. And snide comments on Heisman night as factors behind his fall. Now, bro, Johnny Football wasn't all that good. All right, no, Johnny Football, they're not one in the same completely. But what old Diego Pavia, Diva Pavlova, should have figured out. You seen what happened to Shedeur Sanders last year, right? Now, one would have assumed that if we look at the evidence directly in front of us, we maybe should have tried to do as much damage control as we absolutely possibly could heading into the draft process. Because much like with females, dude, backup quarterbacks, you can be super talented and an asshole. Or you can be really, really cool with everybody and not that great. But you can't be not that great and an asshole. All right, look, I'm just saying. I don't think he's as good as everybody makes him out to be. Sportscaster Fireball Dan Patrick, said Monday that Heisman Trophy finalist Diego Pavia was handed a, quote, brutal reality over the weekend when he went undrafted and received only an invite to the Baltimore Ravens camp, and the UFL goes, we're going to market the shit out of this guy. Pavia was the Heisman Trophy finalist for more than 10 years to go unselected in the NFL draft, dude. Yes, even guys like Troy Smith. You know what I'm saying? Patrick claimed on his show that it was, quote, really clear message from the NFL, right? There's Diego throwing a little pass around. Diego Pavia was a Heisman Trophy finalist who did not get drafted. Now, there's a few reasons why. He was very, very good in the SEC. That should stand out and should make you draft eligible. You know, I'll acknowledge there is a slightly, in most people's opinion, a degree of competition that is at the very least faster than the rest of the college ranks when you get into the SEC. You can have a personality at other positions. You can be absorbed. You can be embraced, but not a backup quarterback because quarterback is evaluated differently. You can be an elite talent and get away with that. Quote, the message from the NFL is very clear. If you're not a can't-miss prospect, professionalism is not just valued, it's required. And that hurt Diego Pavia. Also, that he's not a tall guy. Most of your backup quarterbacks, if you check, are not the short quarterbacks. Diego Pavia might be around 5'10", but you can start to look at what you did at the pre-draft meetings with your teams. You have Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick, other examples of your backup quarterbacks being too much of a headline or potential for a headline. That's right. You can't be having two at the position where you really can only have one guy. Patrick pointed out to Pavia's friendship with Johnny Manziel and making snide comments about Fernando Mendoza on Heisman night at other reasons why Pavia didn't get drafted. And not for nothing, shout out Fernando Mendoza. Doesn't he just look like the most Kirk Cousiny of guys? I'm just going to smile on through it. I'm number one overall pick. Money, 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 money. You know what I'm saying, dude? Yo, and Diego, and look at Diego. You make all the comments you want, bro. You can make all the comments you want. There is a very strong chance that because you are who you are, and you will not curtail it in any capacity, and this is coming from me, all right? There's a really good chance that Fernando Mendoza makes more money in a single snap of football than you ever make playing professional football at any level. Football moves on quickly, just as Johnny Manziel, it moves quickly, but Diego Pavia has a personality, but he doesn't have a personality that I want as my backup quarterback. I don't think he's good enough to be a starter in the NFL. He's not Doug Flutie. I mean, Doug Flutie was 5'9", a Heisman Trophy winner, but he was the ideal personality to be a backup quarterback and ready to come in when need be. In fact, Flutie was ahead of his time. It kind of revolutionized Doug Flutie a little bit more, not saying he comes in being a rock star backup quarterback, but a little sizzle, coming in with a little sizz, you know what I'm saying? A little sizzling, Diego Pavia, the personality, that's who you are. You're selling that personality, but I'm not buying that. Teams are not buying that. Teams didn't buy Shedeur Sanders, right? And Shedeur, I think, is a much more pro-ready quarterback than Diego Pavia. Patrick said the NFL coaches have a tough enough time trying to win games as without personalities becomes the headlines. Patrick added that NFL teams usually want a quarterback who is seen and not heard from. No, Teddy Bridgewater. Even Teddy Bridgewater's a little too many headlines. You know what I'm saying? Although it being good, we like our Kyle Allens. You know what I'm saying? Or a player who isn't drawing too much attention to himself. You got to have a backup quarterback. You probably don't see that very much, and that's a good thing. If you're one of the McCown brothers and you're just there for 15 years, Chase Daniel, nice college career. You just want to make sure that guy is there just in case. He said, yeah, dude, I think being a backup quarterback in the NFL, especially if you are the backup quarterback to, like, the guy, Bro, a backup quarterback that has the guy in front of him and an all-pro offensive line, that dude has one of the easiest jobs in the NFL, dude. He's just, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Patrick said Pavia's reality check was that the teams don't want him to be the star. They only want him to be to help the starting quarterback. And that was a brutal reality that Diego Pavia was handed over the weekend. He did not get drafted. Pavia was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Year with 3,500 passing yards. Good for him. And he helped put Vanderbilt back on the map with a 10-3 season and nearly made the college football playoff. So a little bit of a flash in the pan. I don't think it's going to do too much, man. Does Diego Pavia have enough leverage to really inspire people to want to go to Vanderbilt? You know what I'm saying? Like if Vandy and Bama come a knocking, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of other programs, you know what I'm saying? Pavia is Doug Fruity. Hell yeah, Kane over on Rumble. That's absolutely awesome. He's Doug Fruity. I don't think he's got the skills, and he definitely doesn't have the personality to humble himself to sit on the bench unless people overpay for him and shut him up with money. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. How do we feel about that, Mad Hatter Nation? What's up, Tampa? Good to see you, man. Oh, Chase. What's up, dude? Yo, we got a Chase sighting. How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. I appreciate you dropping in. Two players that were selected right before the Lions pick. Wonder if they slid one spot. They'd be the Lions, Kenny and Sadiq at 16. And Jacob Rodriguez. Art, I'm not so... I don't think Sadiq was ever going to be the guy. I think Miller was always the guy. I, though, am very confident that the reason the Lions jumped up to 44 was... I really think... Because, look... I think going after Rodriguez was what we were trying to do at 44 based on the move that we made for Rolder in the 4th round. Though I'm not upset with the Derek Moore pick. I think that maybe Brad Holmes thought maybe he was out thinking Miami, that he didn't think Miami was going to go that route. They snagged Rodriguez. I like to think, just for my own ego, is that the Lions were aggressively trying to go after Jacob Rodriguez. I really think that's what we were trying to do at 43, brother. I think we were taking the best player available. Sadiq, Vega, Miller were all three guys they were looking at. Hell yeah. What's up, gun guy? Good to see you, man. O-line and D-line 1 and 2, exactly what I was hoping for. Hutch gonna eat. Yeah, dude. Hutch made out this draft. Aiden Hutchinson made out like a bandit this draft, dude. Nashville. Is that where you're down at, Art? Down and hanging out in Nashville? Backup QBs get paid millions of dollars to watch football and have the best seats in the building. No risk of injury. Best job you could ask for, especially if you got, if you're backing up Goff, and you got one of the best offensive lines in football, and you got Jared Goff just Iron Man in it. You know what I mean, dude? Absolutely awesome. What's up, Brent Supreme? Teams know what the pick is before they trade. We knew Rodriguez was gone before we traded up. Yeah, possibly, dude. I just, like I said, for my own ego's sake, I like to think that we were trying to get Jacob Rodriguez. And there is always that connection of the Packers kept stealing my pick in the mock drafts the last couple of days. And then the Jeff Hafley and the GM transition over to Miami from Green Bay. It's kind of also like a little bit of an extra kick in the dick. You know what I mean? Just like, damn it. Because I got really high on Jacob Rodriguez. I got so high on Jacob Rodriguez. Oh, you think Derek Moore was going to the Ravens? That makes sense, dude. Yeah, because then didn't they take Zion Young? Because they like dirtbags. They took Mike Green last year, who was a dirtbag, and then they took Zion Young, right? Am I correct? Oops. Help if I could spell it properly. Yeah, he plays for the Ravens, yeah. Yeah, so does Mike Green, yeah. Because when they took Zion Young, I was like, yeah, they like taking dirt bags, dude. They like taking pieces of shit. You know what I'm saying? I bet you they wanted Bane. But I'm happy with the Derek Moore pick, dude. So speaking of money. Not a fan. Not a fan of the NIL. I think the NFL is pretty lame, dude. I'm not going to lie. Although I do think that there needed to be some type of Going to sound like Full Metal Alchemist here. Some type of a law of equivalent exchange going on in the NFL or in the college ranks for the amount of profit that schools were making off of the athletic pedigree of players who, yes, a good majority of them are not going to end up at the final financial goal of being a 13-year pro in the insert professional sports league, racking up millions of dollars. It does give them some bit of financial cushion. But on the inverse of that, when you look at the numbers out of players in the NFL, specifically, at least that's a sample pool I have to draw from, people are bad with money. People are really bad with money, especially when you get these college kids who've never had money, right? That's what we see all the time. Who was it? One of the draft prospects just bought his mom, or one of the draftees in the first round, just the day of or the next day, bought his mom and sister or something like that, a couple of sweet, ridiculous cars. Spending money before the ink is even dry. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. Okay. I just don't like the NIL. There, that's what it boils down to. I'm 38 going on Paul Harvey, right? I'm not wild about it. And the Chiefs exec over here, Ryan Nutt, has his opinions on it. The NIL is shrinking the NFL draft talent pool, keeping college players in school for longer. All right, so what does Fox News have for us? NFL execs shed some light on how the current landscape of college football has affected the draft, considering name, image, and likeness, or we call it the NIL, creates a key business decision for prospects. In the world of NIL, college athletes are able to work out brand deals for financial gain while pursuing their dreams of going pro. As a result, some players who may be borderline prospects, or one who simply wishes to raise their draft stock and have more years of college eligibility, are choosing to stay in school while not missing out on a payday that the NFL can provide, right? Kind of getting as much, bag maxing, you know what I'm saying? Kansas City Chiefs VP of Player Personnel, Ryan Nutt, was asked by a reporter during his availability on Monday following the draft about how this changed due to NIL at the college level, how this draft changed. Quote, "It's not a bad thing they're staying in college, right?" Nutt began his response. "It gives them more time to develop and more time to mature. But what we see is maybe they come out of college with more injuries or just more wear and tear. Just more workload overall, you know what I mean? Nutt understands that these athletes are making business decisions as they try to raise their draft stock. Now they do all their homework, and the schools do a really good job of reaching out and giving these kids an idea of where they're going to go," he added. But Nutt's response shows that the NFL teams are thinking since its obvious view of the situation. Players are putting another year of football on their bodies in college rather than the pros. In turn, the NFL teams need to factor that into their analysis of prospects throughout all rounds, right? That's kind of why I think Akeem Mesdor fell as far as he did. They take all that information into consideration, and of that, we don't care what they do, Nutt said of the prospects. None of us pressure any of these players to leave or stay. It's what's in their best interest, and some of those guys, it is in their interest to stay, and some of them maybe they should have left. But either way, when you're getting paid that kind of money, I can see where it's tough for these kids to make that decision. To give some perspective about the type of money prospects would get if they were to be drafted on day 3 or rounds 4 through 7, the 101st pick of this year's draft, Las Vegas Raiders cornerback Jermon McCoy, is scheduled to make $5.549 million for his draft slot over 4 years. That comes out to $1.388 million per year before a potential second contract. Oh, however, how is he supposed to eat? Could you guys possibly survive on the old just a meager? I mean, how are you supposed to survive? How is a man supposed to eat on a meager $1.388 million per year? Oh, fiddlesticks. I mean, I must be an ant. I'm just a cockroach, you know? But if the player believes that they could be a day 2 pick, let alone a first-round selection, a rookie contract could be more than double that of the $5.549 million mark, which is why it's a clear business decision for each player. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. The risk of playing football is always there, no matter the pro or college level. However, the talent pool has diminished in each draft as potential prospects would rather stay in school and collect money from their NIL deals. I think that has been kind of evident, guys, over the last few years. I think we have seen, haven't we been kind of saying how it's like, oh man, after, the 150 mark, there aren't that many players. After the, 150, 170 mark, and maybe next year you're looking at a little bit more of a tighter grouping, early on in the process. Who was that kid out of Oregon? The quarterback that everyone thought was going to go. And then he was just like, nah, quack, quack, going to stay. You know what I'm saying, dude? I don't know, man. I totally understand, but at the same time, I don't know. I think like the way we were kind of looking at the lens of Akeem Hurtfoot Mesdor, Fat Braylon Edwards, it's like, hey, you're getting a well-seasoned athlete that should be playing at a second-year contract, athletic pedigree based on their age, not necessarily the level of competition that they've seasoned themselves against. However, their age, their mentality, their overall genetic strength should be getting about to a maximum level. A little bit more seasoning in college, you should be getting a little bit higher production at a little bit of a smaller scale. And then, hey, you start to transition into the world where, you know what, maybe the pencils do get a little bit sharpened. Maybe we start taking a little bit closer look at guys before we start doling out these big fat ass second contracts. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the money gets tightened up a little bit. Maybe we get to be a little bit more picky and choosy. Maybe we see the talent pool coming out of college shrinks. Maybe we see it going from the elite production group of like a 0.01 to a 0.001% of the player profiles that are absolutely elite level. I mean, maybe start having more scouts, more people getting into a scouting type pedigree. Maybe we really start to get into the nitty gritty of it. And ultimately, who ends up succeeding the most? Well, the NFL makes money, because every single time we take a look at something or talk about it, the NFL slaps its shield on it and they turn a profit. Roger Goodell sleeps easy at night on his big old bag of money. You know what I'm saying? Abney has an outside corner skill set right now. They think he can play the slot, but has to learn those skills. I do not see him at safety. He's too skinny compared to Maddox. Hell yeah. I've seen a little bit about how Abney could play outside now, but the idea is that they're going to try and like coach him up a bit to see what he can do on the inside. Remember Sanders where was the outrage about Pavia? The thing, Art, I think the big difference between Sanders and Pavia was that Sanders had the name of his dad behind him, really overinflating his value, and Pavia was labeled an asshole from the jump, right? I think that's why years and years and years ago, and ultimately why he never worked out in the NFL was Connor Cook out of Michigan State. He is sweet college quarterback, absolute asshole. You know what I'm saying? Sanders is drafting Pavia is more Johnny Manziel doesn't know the X's and O's. Gotcha. Yeah, and that's the other thing is John. You look at the player build. Pavia just looks like Manziel out there. Pavia said to have highly bad character traits as Hat went over. Yeah, he's like I said, he's an asshole. Due to being an asshole, Pavia just is an NFL prospect. Yeah, the athletic pedigree, the name behind it, I know that Sanders had the overinflated completion percentage in college due to the short passes, but, they were a bunch of short passes. They were passes. They were passes that were thrown. Again, tape, Pavia. I don't know. I was never wild about Pavia. But again, when I watched him play and when I heard him talk, I got Johnny Manziel vibes. You know what I'm saying? And I never liked Johnny Manziel, dude. He seemed like a butthole. You know what I mean? All right, so we're gonna shift gears here, guys. We're gonna quit talking about the NFL and talk about the local news here. This is what we're here to talk about, right, guys? We're here to talk about the local stuff. The Vikings were like Pavia in the draft. I thought they were cooking the whole time, but they were absolutely mid. Yeah, Kane over on Rumble, dude. Were you guys all shocked when the Vikings took Banks right behind us, dude? That was wild, right? You know what I'm saying? College players should get paid if the schools are going to profit from them, but now it's just the schools with the biggest checkbooks buying their teams. Yes, Ryan, exactly, dude. Goodell getting booed every time he came on the stage of the draft is fun. It's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite things, and I love that even ESPN played into it with their little Super Bowl selection commercial with what's his name booing him. I thought that was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, ha 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 ha, oh, ha, ha, ha. Oh, that's a very clever Mongolian. You know what I'm saying? Have you looked at next year's wide receivers and DBs in the draft? No, not yet, dude. I have not even begun to look at next year's prospects, dude. We got to focus on task at hand, brother. Task at hand. I'll let the scouts deal with that for now. We need to focus on the task at hand here, bro. And that is what the Lions are going to be. How many wins? How hard we're going to absolutely kick ass and take names this year, dude. You like Banks at 18? I think that the foot injury would I wouldn't have mind Banks at 50, but foot injuries freak me out, dude. You know what I'm saying? I get it, ever since Kevin Jones fucking hurt his foot. I was just like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Foot injuries, bro. That's just not my thing. More hat and beard political wisdom. Maybe American, maybe. Right now we're doing pretty good with our viewership, staying on topic with the NFL. You know what I'm saying? But maybe eventually if things get too out of control. Preach, Brent, preach. Nobody loves the booze more than Roger Goodell himself. Well, and especially because, dude, when Roger Goodell, when everybody starts booing Roger Goodell, all he hears is cash registers, ching, 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 because he's just like, how can I market this? How can I market this? Every single one of you paid to be here and boo me. Like that's all he does. He's just like, okay, you paid to come here and boo me. Half of you weren't even alive when this started. Most of you don't even know why you're booing me. You're just booing me because you've seen other people boo me. You know what I'm saying, bro? Banks would have been my top 10 pick if not the injury. Exactly. Yeah, well, yeah, it's that Chris Jones comp, dude. He's a beast for sure, but footsies don't get better at 300 pounds. Well, and especially, Brent, they don't get better at 300 pounds, especially in Minnesota, dude. I don't know what the hell's going on in Minnesota. The NFL made him a very rich man, Rick, and in turn, look, man, for as much as we don't like Roger Goodell, bro grew the NFL. He turned that thing into a bigger money-making machine. So what was the Lions' worst pick, you guys? What do you guys think? Let's talk about this, huh? Let's shift gears. Let's get off Roger Goodell a little bit here. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions, huh? Let's get back to task at hand. McCoy would have been a top 3 pick if he played in 25. Raw, I think McCoy probably, Jermon McCoy probably would have still been a top 32 pick if it weren't for that whole bone plug thing, man. That because it's so obscure sounding, and I mean, let's be honest. How often have we heard about it? How many players do you know off the top of your head that you're just like, boom, this guy had a bone plug, this guy had a bone plug, this guy had a bone plug, all common situations. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that this is a career-ending injury for the guy. He could totally bounce back from it. In fact, I'm probably one of the few people who is actually, I'm openly rooting for the guy to prove everybody wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, very rarely do I encourage or root for people to, for us to miss out on a guy. But I am kind of hoping that he is able to figure it out. Is Oakland the best spot for him? Has yet to be proven, right? Is he a basket case? Don't know. Haven't enough interest in, or didn't do enough digging into the guy to understand his personality type profile, right? But I do think that the breaking information about the bone plug thing is exactly what fucking crippled his stock. Even if he was out the whole season with just the ACL, I think he still would have been a top 32 pick. But that bone plug thing really just tanked his draft stock. Just absolutely submarined him, dude. You know what I'm saying? Rick, that's a good point, dude. He doesn't make the rules. He just follows them. That's true. Bro, what am I hearing out there? Sorry about that. Yeah, bone plug sounds super gay. Super gay. Worst pick, easy, was Derek Moore. All his highlights have guys not even trying to block him. We've seen those clips, highlights versus 2s and 3s, O linemen not interested. McCoy didn't play in 25, won't play in 26 either. Odds are he won't play in 23. Well, yeah, Brent, and I know that the odds are, let's be real. Odds are he probably doesn't have an NFL career. You know what I'm saying? If you miss that much time, there's absolute fucking cameras out of focus, dude. Come on, bro. Get back in focus. Come on, man. There we go. He probably isn't going to have an NFL career, right? That's why he went in the 4th round. That's why teams took a flyer on him so late, I hope the best for the guy. You know what I'm saying? Because it has got to absolutely suck donkey water, dude, to get So close to be a first round, pedigree player, to be so close, dude. And ACLs aren't what they were 30 years ago, right? ACLs aren't career enders no more, right? Hell, we took JMO 12 with a blown out ACL, right? You can come back from that. But a bone plug, man. That's just like, and by no fault of his own, that's just his biology failing him, dude. That's just his body saying we've gone as far down the track as we can, bro. We can't do this no more. You know what I'm saying? So like, it just goes to show you, no matter how much, fine tuning, absolute training, no matter how healthy you eat and no matter how many miles you run, you be running down the road, eating all healthy as fuck, have a heart attack, fall over dead on the side of the road. You know what I mean? Your body just has its limit, dude. And unfortunately, statistically, he has probably met and exceeded that limit. You hope the best, though. You know what I mean? Because that's just got to suck donkey water. You know what I mean? We don't know the worst pick for a couple years. I know, dude. I totally agree. McCoy was one of the best corners in college. Unlucky for him. He was a sophomore and couldn't declare. Yeah, dude, that's true, bro. That's true. That's true. Yeah, if he was an underclassman, he could have. But then we would look at where he would have been, though. You know what I mean? His biological clock ran out. You know what I'm saying? Now, what he does next, and I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse here, dude. He could do it. He could totally do it, right? But the smart thing to do now is to build for the future. Train to try the comeback, right? Get in comeback mode. But understand, maybe you need to be a sponge in the coach's room. Maybe you need to start to look at life after a playing career in football. What can you do? What skill sets have you amassed? You know what I'm saying? And it's something that I think all players need to really focus in on. What skills have you developed to build redundancies in your financial limitations and financial ties to football? Have you established yourself alternative streams of income? Have you invested properly? Have you built alternative energy fire suppression systems like the guy that played for San Francisco that's just like, I'm done. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Some defensive end. He's like, I'm done. I'm just going to retire. I made a bunch of money. And Bryce Huff. He's just like, I'm done. In fact, I'm going to start a company that is fire suppression for solar batteries. Yep. There you go, bro. You know what I'm saying, dude? That's using your thinking cap, not your drinking cap. You know what I'm saying? So over here, we got the POD. What was the Lions' worst pick of the draft? The answer, according to Jeremy Reisman, I don't know if I agree with it. As always, let's first acknowledge that we know nothing, and we're obviously hoping for the best for every player. This is just a guessing game, but we can still certainly have our own opinions and players taken, and also the players not taken. For me, that'd be Jeremy Reisman, not Hattenbeard. I have some questions about taking Michigan linebacker Jimmy Rolder in the 4th round. While I recognize that this is the highest remaining need for the Lions, I have trouble seeing the fit with the player. Detroit seemingly needed a coverage will linebacker, but that doesn't appear to be one of Rolder's strengths based on the film I've watched thus far. Rolder's best skills include tackling, downhill run defending, and even a little edge setting when playing the Sam role, which he did early in 2025. Those are valuable assets, don't get me wrong, but the coverage and play recognition still appear very far off for the writer. Well, I understand that, but you're also viewing it from us deploying a base 3-4 defense 60 to 80% of the time, which I do not think that is the plan for the Detroit Lions. Now, here's where I need to remind myself and everyone else that Rolder was only a 1-year starter at Michigan. He has a foundation of skill sets and athleticism that can be built upon, and he can certainly grow to become a better defender. And in the meantime, I have little doubt that his tenacious attitude and play style will make him a 4 core special teamer right out of the box. Fine value for a fourth-round pick. However, I thought the Lions could have possibly landed someone who could contend for a will spot almost immediately in Missouri linebacker Kyle Louis, who's still on the board and ended up going 20 picks later to the Dolphins. I think he played for Pitt. Didn't Kyle Louis pay for Pitt, you guys? Hey, Jeremy Reisman. I ain't trying to talk a bunch of shit, bro, but you got it the wrong school, my guy. He played for Pitt. Just saying. There's a reason why you guys listen to me and not these guys for your hard-hitting NFL draft content, because I know what I'm talking about. So I like the immediate special teams that Rolder brings to the team, but I'm not so sure Detroit's pressed need at linebacker has truly been filled. Instead, it has me wondering if the Lions will play more nickel defense, because I'm not sure they have 3 quality starting linebackers on the roster right now. Well, I think that's the plan. I think that's the plan, dude. I think people are trying to peg Rolder as the replacement for Anal Zone, when I think Rolder is the replacement for Grant Stewart, you guys. I think that's what Rolder's role is to play the Grant Stewart depth piece. And when we need to deploy a 3 linebacker set, we'll roll Malcolm Rodriguez out there. But I do actually anticipate the Lions to go with a more 4-2-5 deployment on defense with a little bit more of a nickel style. 2 linebacker sets. I do think this will be based on how the contract breaks out for Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes has to shit or get off the pot this year. If Derek Barnes does not perform well, happy trails, mi amigo. Time to move on from you because you have failed to meet the pretty heavy contract extension that you signed, a year and a half ago, right? 2 years ago? It's not to say Derek Barnes is bad, but I do need to see him absolutely come out here. I need Derek Barnes. Okay, based on how cheap it is to get out of Derek Barnes next year, and if he underperforms again, yep, see ya. But what I need Derek Barnes to be this year, I need Action Jack Campbell to continue his ascension to being the next Brian Urlacher, as I have already anointed him, being an all-pro linebacker and soon to be probably one of the highest, if not the highest paid linebacker in all of football, and deservedly so. I'm going to go ahead and need Derek Barnes to play this role, guys. And I hate the fact that I got to acknowledge it because they're such a gross franchise. But Derek Barnes needs to play. Oh, my God, he's even the same number. Huh. Lance Briggs, baby. Let's go. I need you to be Lance Briggs to Action Jack Campbell's Brian Urlacher. Guys, am I reaching too far on Derek Barnes? Can you see a road to where I think we're investing too much capital into Jimmy Rolder being a replacement and the replacement of Alex Anal Zone on the whole, right? Oh, that sounds kind of funny, Anal Zone on the whole. If you look at the moves we made in the secondary, the addition of all the free agents, the potentiality for Kirby Joseph to be rock solid, the athletic pedigrees of players that we brought in to play the slot, to play the nickel, to can rotate out into safety, it kind of is setting up for the Lions to deploy a 4-2-5 defense more often than not. I think that we got burned too many times last year with the wall that Alex Anzalone rolled into with his athleticism, the drop-off in play over the years, right? We got burned too many times, and I think it's time to go fast and get out there and just wreak havoc. Really control the line of scrimmage with your front four. Let Action Jack Campbell tell everybody where to be, get him into place. Let Derek Barnes be athletic out there. Derek Barnes is athletic. We have seen it his rookie year. He does have a little bit of an edge rush ability. He can play coverage better than not. He's a solid tackler, right? As long as the front four can control the line of scrimmage, let the linebackers run around, and keep your safeties roaming in the zone deep. That can Kirby Joseph go ahead and have another 9 interception season. You know what I'm saying, guys? How do we feel, Mad Hatter Nation? What What am I hearing out there is how most horror movies start. Yeah, I know, Ryan. I know. Well, the thing is, like, they're doing a bunch of shit around the neighborhood right now. People across the road having some work done at their house. Just down the street, they got some arborists out doing some tree work and shit. So I can hear a bunch of stuff. Compound that with the cats and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Lions are going to make every fan base crash out. The engagement you'll get during the season will come from NFC North fan bases hate watching your content. Man, Kane, dude, I'll take it, bro. I'll take it, dude. I'll take people's hate. I don't mind, dude. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I think we're kind of doing a pretty solid job of being a sponge, soaking up all the people who are like, yeah, I'm done with Woodward, dude. Look, we are the ideal vacation destination, dude. You know what I mean? You want to leave Dubai? Come on back to the woke American content, dude. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and leave all the Dubai chocolate with Woodward over there, dude. Come on back here to the States, dude. Based AF. Come to Mad Hatter Nation. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Kyle Louis is a 220-pound linebacker, basically limited. Yeah, he looked, dude, I'm not going to lie, Brent, when I was watching the tape on Kyle Louis, I was like, are we sure that this guy's a linebacker? He looks like a safety, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just so slender, dude. He looked like a DB. McCoy already had access to the best medical attention and had a pocket full of cash. No difference now. 100%, dude. JC, wherever style, linebacker, situational, distance calls for, run, stopping, Rodriguez, pass coverage, Clark, and 50-50 down Barnes. Yeah, you know, Blizz, you might be onto something, dude. One of those analysis roller would be a backup for Campbell, attacking run game more than coverage. Maybe, dude. That could be Jack. I don't know. Jack Campbell should not be the highest paid linebacker in football. That goes with pass rushers. Jack deserves to be the highest paid middle linebacker. Huge cost difference, massive. I honestly, I didn't even beforehand, just based on the how kind of Jack Campbell presents himself, I'm willing to bet he's going to be one of them team friendly contract guys, dude. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Snake? Good to see you, man. He was coming off knee injury last year. Did not see him as a finished product. Yeah, he was coming off that knee injury, Brent. You're right. Highest paid middle linebacker is under 20 mil a season. Highest paid rush linebacker makes over 40. Yeah, I think we were seeing Jack was pegged to make somewhere in the 15 to 17-ish. Okay, yeah. So his extension is the Lions are exploring his fifth-year option, which put him at $21 million. And I think the contract that they're kind of looking to work out for him would pay roughly in the 17-ish million. Potentially 4-year, 72 to 88 million. I think 88's way too high. That's looking at 22 mil a year. Somewhere in the 72 to 77 mil ish. I think that's pretty fair. Estimated between 18 and 22. Yeah, I think that if we could I hate to be lowballing Jack Campbell, but the closer we can get him into the 17 to 18 million dollar range, the happier I will be. I also do think that he is the type of guy that will probably be more open to something like that. You know what I mean? But that's just based on literally just snippet interviews. I do not know him at all. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. You know what I mean? Other than what I've seen him on the field. I do know that extending him now versus the 5th-year option because of his Pro Bowl nod and first team All Pro makes it cheaper for us to extend him now than to 5th-year him this year. And then we can build the contract out so that in year 5, we can kind of have more of a financial easier option out, or the typical thing that we do now, the restructuring midway through the contract. So he should be the highest paid linebacker, which would be for. Okay, well, my bad. I'm sorry. There, middle linebacker. Is that better? Is that better if I specifically say middle linebacker? I didn't know that when I said Jack Campbell, we all assumed that he was an outside linebacker. I kind of assumed that you guys are smart enough to know that when I said highest paid linebacker, we meant Jack Campbell at his position, which would be middle linebacker. My bad. I'll make sure to really specifically use the exact terminology as to not confuse you guys. My bad. New contract, look at what Warner got, add a mil. Yeah, and didn't Warner just blow his knee out or his shoulder or something like that? What the fuck is going on with the linebacker room in San Francisco, dude? Because didn't they just have, was it Greenlaw? Dre Greenlaw blew his knee out in like the Super Bowl or something like that, or in the playoff game, and then didn't he do a 1-year stint in Denver and then he's back in San Francisco? Yeah, okay. San Francisco on a 1-year, $7.5 million. That's what I thought. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought, dude. Yeah, he went to Denver. Yeah, he did 1 year in Denver. He came off the knee injury, right? Knee injury. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, never mind. It was a torn Achilles. Jesus Louises. Ugh. Yeah, it was when he was running onto the field of the Super Bowl. That's right, dude. Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I remember this.
No! Hey! 57 got hurt. 57 got hurt over there.
Did Trey just get hurt running out on the field?
You're not going to believe what happened.
Did Dre really tear his Achilles?
Yeah, they just said it.
That's
Bro.
depressing.
Here comes the car to that's not good if you're a 1400 fan. Hopefully he's okay.
Oh, dude. I mean, Joe, do you remember what? Stephen Tulloch? Yeah. Stephen Tulloch. Wasn't it Stephen Tulloch broke his leg celebrating? They just brought Greenlock back. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Gotcha. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's what I thought. That's what it was. He fucking got hurt, and then he signed in Denver, and then they released him because the big fear that we all have with Brian Branch, or at least I have with Brian Branch, which is why I'm hesitant to extend Brian Branch. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and piss everybody off with this article. I'm not gonna lie, I hate all the names on here. Oh my goodness gracious, that's who they want us to bring back. Well, the Detroit Lions are sitting at 85 players right now, and they still need to get to 90 before training camp opens. So they're likely to add some players via free agency before then. Here are 4 guys who are still in the market that might have some interest in. Number 1, Gross. Yeah. So, why do we suck at second round picks, dude? Jelani Tavai, Enos Rakestraw, Josh Pascal, Ryan Broyles, Titus Young, Jordan Dyson. Come on, who else am I missing? Jelani Tavai. Why do we suck at picking in the second round regardless of the GM, dude? Oh my God, dude, Jelani Tavai. Bro. You guys want to see something fucking wild about Stephen Tulloch? Check this out. I don't know how I came across this, dude. He's a coffee baron now. Bro is a coffee peddler. Former Detroit Lions linebacker Stephen Tulloch launched his own Circle House Coffee signature blend at Meyer Marketplace in Royal Oak. This is from 2024. Stephen Tulloch, retired NFL linebacker and founder of the Circle House Coffee, is bringing his passion for gourmet coffee to Detroit with the launch of his personally curated coffee line at the Meyer Marketplace in Woodward in Royal Oak, Michigan. Best known for his career his signature coffee blends and Good Vibes Nitro Cold Brew with the Meyer annual Woodward Corner Fall Fest on Saturday to celebrate the launch. Blah blah blah. This is 3 years old at this point, basically. The new retail partnership with Meyer Marketplace brings 3 former Lions signature Circle House coffee blends to the shelves. There you go. I think you can buy it down in Florida. I think this is down. The locations are down in Florida. Circle House Coffee is a community hub. We've reached a space where locals visitors alike. Wi-Fi cozy, blah, blah, blah. Circle House Coffee, blah, blah, blah. Concept creator, bring people together. Times Walter Payton Man of the Year Community Service Team Award recipient, his passion for giving. Quality is the heart of everything we brew. Where is the location, bitch? There you go. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. There you go. Hot dog. How do you like them apples, guys? So you Florida guys, go check him out, dude. He's got his own coffee shop, dude. And I think you can order it, bro. Yeah, you can order coffee from him, dude. I don't know how the fuck I came across this the other day, but somehow I was just fucking around online, and I ended down a rabbit hole that led me to Stephen Tulloch's coffee brand. Oh, I was sleuthing on Jeremy from the Quartering. That's what I was doing. I was sleuthing on Coffee Brand Coffee because that dude's a fucking hack, dude. That's what it was. I was sleuthing on Coffee Brand Coffee, dude. Yep. That's what I was doing. And I came across Stephen Tulloch, dude. And I was like, here we go, dude. Here we go. Discount double black barrel breakfast blend. Hell yeah, dude. Circle jerk coffee, bro. Kyle Van Noy worked out for New England. No shit, dude. Can we prosecute Dan Quinn, dude? Yeah, for sure, bro. Same celebration, same cues, same result. No shit, dude. That's awesome, Rick. I think there should be an investigation of the Van Noy situation. Just seems like they were wearing double dealing with Contrition and Billy Boy. Bro, you ain't even wrong, dude. Bro, for real, we kept just like it's almost like there was a little bit of collusion between the Lions and them dickheads. So we all know Jelani Tavai, a former Lions second-round draft pick. It did not work out for him here, and then he went to the Patriots and started for years. In a return to Detroit, Tavai would take the will linebacker spot like Pratt would, and it would be the starter for the Lions. Wait for Rolder to get ready to take over. At the very least, he's a competition at the spot during training camp. No. AJ Epinesa, this is a guy I was high on for us to go after in free agency before he signed with the Brown Eyes, but then failed a physical, and the signing didn't go through. The Lions have their starter in Derek Moore. Oh, bold. That's a bold statement, Cotton. Let's see if it works out, pays off for him. The Lions have their starter in Derek Moore. Plug your ears, Raw. You do not want to hear that. I don't mind it, though. And the rotationary guy with DJ Wonham. To start the year, I bet you're going to see the inverse of that there now, where you're probably at least historically going to see where Brad Holmes likes to lean on the veteran players, especially ones that he went after in free agency, to go ahead and take the majority of the snaps early on, and then probably going to see Derek Moore taking in a more of a rotationary speed package because he has a bit more of a pass rush upside than he does really that run game defense, where we've already seen statistically DJ Wonnum is a 3-down defensive end, at least with his time in Carolina. But one more guy doesn't hurt, basically. The point here is that the Lions give him a physical and see if he can pass it, and then the defensive line gets even deeper. It's worth a look at the very least. Isn't AJ Epinesa like a little bit heavier too, like in the 270 range-ish? Kind of can do that bookend, that heavy defensive end, light defensive tackle. How fat is he? Everybody's targeting him. Everybody's targeting him, dude. Everybody's targeting it. Everybody's like, AJ Epinesa. We should all sign AJ Epinesa. Yeah, I think he's like in the 270 range, somewhere around there. Am I wrong? Yeah, I think it's backwards too, Raw. I was like, I don't think Moore's gonna be the starter. Come on, camera, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck me now. Come on. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Detroit City. I appreciate it. Hey, bro, if you're down in Fort Lauderdale, go check out Circle Brand Coffee or Circle House Coffee or Circle Coffee House, something like that. It's Stephen Tulloch's brand, dude. Stephen Tulloch owns it. There clearly was, and they're trying to turn us into the Detroit Pistons. Dude, legit. Dude, there was collusion, right? They even thought they could trade for Gronk. Dude, yeah. Remember when, and then Gronk was like, I will quit playing football if I get traded to the Lions. Damn, did I blow past everybody? Oh, okay. Here we go. We talked about AJ Epinesa, right? No, kick the tires. Patrick Payton. This guy's actually an undrafted free agent from this past weekend's draft. It put him on this list. It put him on this list because I'm surprised. Oh, being an undrafted free agent. Because he wasn't drafted and hasn't been signed yet. Payton is one of those players who just hasn't put it all together. But if he does, he can be a good hand to have around. He's worth inviting to camp to see where he can, what he can do. Yeah. Also, I do want to just kind of preface this. Oh yeah, I said Jermaine Pratt. Whatever. I'm not too wild about that. I think we need to get out of the mentality of running 3 linebacker sets. Guys, we're sitting at 85 players right now, right? There's a very strong chance that we roll into training camp with a full 90-man roster. Come on now. We have this problem as Detroit Lions fans, and I am just as guilty as the next guy of doing it, if not a little bit more so. Okay? And I think it's because we spent so many years being so bad that we end up really, really looking at the training camp battles, the rookies, the undrafted free agents. And I think a lot of times nowadays we end up missing a little bit of the forest for the trees, right? We get a little too hung up on Jordan Meeks, right? Is that his name, Jordan Meeks? Whatever his name is. We get a little too high on a TK85, right? And I love TK85, but he's not someone you're going to hang your hat on, let alone your beard. You know what I'm saying? And because we were so bad for so long, we really look at these camp battles. Dude, most of these guys that were like, oh, yeah, let's look at this guy, kick the tires on this guy. Oh, yeah, this is a great addition for the Detroit Lions, Seth McLaughlin, right? I love Seth McLaughlin. I love the signing. I think it's great. I think it's sneaky. Practice squad. Let's be real. Practice squad. You can look as deep as 60 players. Everybody else outside of that, they ain't going to be around come the start of the regular season, dude. You know. Now, it is nice to at least remember some of the names so that when we get into week 6 and we have to deploy the Legion of Whom, at least you go, oh, yeah, I remember that guy from week 1 of the preseason. You know what I'm saying? Ideally, with the moves Brad Holm has made and the plan moving forward with camp, training camp, mini camp, OTAs and that stuff, we won't be in that situation. As much as I think the Keith Abney draft pick is sneaky, I don't want to be relying and having to talk about Keith Abney's matchup against guys. I don't want to be in that boat. I don't want to be in that headspace. I want to be talking about how TA's turned it around. I want to be talking about Enos the penis, Rakestraw, breaks like a straw, suddenly is healthy, figured it out, and is exactly why people had him slotted in the first round. You know what I'm saying? 2 years ago, right? I want Aleem to have a monstrous season next to Tyleek. You know what I'm saying? I want Derek Moore to be wildly successful, but I want Derek Moore to be wildly successful in that we're going, he only had 7.5 sacks, and I'm going, yeah, because Wanham had 12. Because Hutch had 23. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to really be talking about. But until then, welcome to the filler arc, you guys. Because that's what we're doing. We are shonen jumping our way through the offseason, dude. Let's go. Yeah, Law's a return gadget guy. I completely agree with that. I think he's a 4-core special teams player. I think that's what him and Rolder were brought into this franchise to be, was special teams contributors right off the rip, even if it's not in the actual returning of. But you see Brad Holmes talk about the gunner ability of Kendrick Law, right? Or Kendrick Law. Rolder has good tackling, downhill running ability. He can come in and contribute right away. That's why I think he comes in and plays the Stewart or Grant Stewart special teamers role, not returning kicks. Okay, that's hilarious, and I don't ever want to see my linebacker as a kick returner ever again. Okay, but I think that's what we've done here. I think we've brought in some guys who can compete. You know what I'm saying? I think TA is a beast, dude. You know what I'm saying? TA just got to be patient before the ball arrives and not get too physical or too fast. Raw, I have a very simple solution for Terry and Arnold. They just need to put his dick beaters in cast, dude. If he's just got two stumps out there, he can't get grabby with his dick beaters, dude. You know what I'm saying? Let's sign Epinesa and get 2.5 sacks across the much. So exciting. Yeah, I know. I'm not wild about us going. Do you guys see us really needing to bring in any defensive ends now? So you look at it this way, right? We're sitting at 85 players. 4 competition in camp. Let's bring in a linebacker, right? 86 players. We got 4 moves to make. I want another quarterback in at camp, okay, because I don't want just 2 quarterbacks. I want 3 quarterbacks minimum in at camp. 87. Now we're at 3 players, right? Let's go ahead and bring in another tight end who can actually push the top 2 and maybe compete with Brock Wrong for that 3rd tight end spot. Now we're at 88, 2 players. Going to need another running back because I'm not willing to roll out Pacheco and Gibbs in the preseason. 89 players. So, you know, going after a guy like Epinesa might feel good on the name, but practicality makes 0 to no sense. You know, it makes absolutely no sense. We have enough bodies in the defensive line room to compete at the defensive end spot, right? Hutch, Hassanin, Alzarike, Walnum, Turner, Moore. You know what I'm saying? You got bodies, dude. That's a 6 right off the top of my head. So you're going 3 deep at each edge? Probably not in the regular season. You know what I'm saying, dude? Let's just call it what it is, dude. Hassani needs to transition to fullback, clear up a little bit of space there. You're going to roll into the regular season if everybody's healthy with Walnum, Hutch, Moore, and Turner. Maybe you drag on Zarike if he's healthy, but he's a tweener in between to fill out your defensive tackle room. That's the reality of the situation here, fellas. You know what I'm saying? I think we are quite thin in talent. We have some situational specialists like our linebackers. Raw, I don't buy into that because I'm very high on the. Although I don't think Avonte Maddox is going to ascend any more than where he finished last season. Avonte Maddox, not hanging my hat on him. Depth, rotationary piece. Thomas Harper, though, very young, played as a top 12 safety with at least 200 snaps. I think he's a very nice piece and a contributing piece to have on defense. Eisen, I think, rotates more into the safety role, but I also kind of think maybe the Rock Ya-Sin. You've seen Rock Ya-Sin get deployed at safety in the preseason and sporadically in touch assignments during the regular season. I think the plan is probably to move Rock Ya-Sin more to that just full-time safety position. A little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. Maybe come down and play that big safety in the box at times, you know, with Branch being gone. You know, Maddox was a PS player we stole. Decent depth, but not someone who... Exactly. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's not someone that I want to hang my hat on anymore. Last year when we signed Avonte Maddox, you know, I'm old enough to remember when Avonte Maddox was the slot corner that you targeted in fantasy football because he was giving up like 23 points a game to slot receivers. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't high on it, but I did like the, you know, coming off of a Super Bowl, you know, contending team, a little bit of a pedigree, a little bit more of a winning swag, not CJ, GJ. And I do think that Maddox contributed enough last year to justify last year's contract. Am I wild about us bringing Avonte Maddox back this year? No, I'm not wild about it. Not nearly where I was last year. Do I think Avonte Maddox is somebody who could very easily become a cap casualty? Yes, I really do think Avonte Maddox might be a guy who doesn't quite make it out of training camp. When you look at, you know, if McCreary's playing really well, Harper's playing well, Eisen's playing well, Kirby Joseph's healthy, TA, Rakestraw, Reed, there's just not going to be enough mouths to feed and enough holes to fill in the linebacker room, the defensive tackle room, to deploy all of these guys. Now, you could play games and stash guys on practice squads. You know, Dan Jackson's still on roster, right? Let's not forget about Dan Jackson, you know. like Thomas Harper a lot. I saw potential, but our safeties gave up a lot. Yeah, so Brent, I like Thomas Harper, but I do understand where people are like he gave up plays, and he did. He got burned. But he's so young that I think the potential we've seen out of him, he can develop because we have shown the pedigree to develop young safeties. Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Ife Melifonwu have all had successful careers in Detroit, right? I'm not saying if he's performed well in Miami, but he performed well in Detroit, right? Deshaun Elliott got a contract in Pittsburgh after a 1-year stint in Detroit, right? I think that Thomas Harper can really ascend under the tutelage. If he continues on the trajectory that he's at, I think his ascension will be a nice thing to watch and a good piece to have stashed on the roster at a very, very, very cheap rate. You know what I'm saying? McCurry is good in coverage inside a 15-yard box, but lacks long speed to keep up on longer routes. Okay, fair enough. Was brought low for sure. People wanted to trade for him at the deadline, but we got him on a near minimum deal. Yeah, McCreary, I think McCreary is the same thing as we had with like a Rocky Yassin last year and even Avonte Maddox last year. Buy real low with a relatively high potential for a ceiling, and a manageable floor. You know what you're getting with them. You know what you're getting, and ideally you'll know exactly where and how to deploy them in specific situations. I think the secondary of the Lions shapes up to very situational Swiss Army secondary defense, dude. We got a lot of bodies and a lot of bodies that do a lot of different things at a pretty good clip. Do I think we have any one person who does one thing or does all things really well? Yes, but he has a knee concern that we're all worried about. Watch Kirby come out and play all 17 games, dude. You know what I'm saying? No continuity, no chemistry. Yep, I agree with you on that one. If McCreary plays outside, be scared. I don't think McCreary will get any outside action, dude. I think I'm willing to bet that, TA healthy all year, breakout massive year. DJ Reed was playing well before he tweaked his knee, guys. He wasn't playing great, but he was getting takeaways. He's very aggressive, Our secondary got tore apart because we were missing Kirby Joseph, guys. Kirby Joseph is Mr. Eraser back there. He's Mr. Do-It-All, Mr. Clean Up Your Shit Mess, dude. That's what Kirby does, dude, and that's what we were missing, dude. You know what I'm saying? But that was a good discussion, you guys. All that to say, boo Diego Pavia, boo the NIL. I don't hate the Rolder pick, and I do not want to sign any of these 4 players that were listed. Yeah, dude, Reed couldn't run. Well, and the thing, dude, we all seen it when he came up lame, dude. We were all like, oh no, his hamstring. Oh no! That's one of the worst things is when players just, oh, dude, it's brutal. 21 games, not 17. Oh, yeah, Rick, there you go. Okay, Rick, I see you, Rick. I see you, Rick. Hell yeah, brother. Rockiston is going to have a great year. Hell yeah, Kane. I hope so, dude. I like BRCC, but they kept trying to charge my card before I canceled. Yeah, Ryan, I don't buy Black Rifle no more, dude. I'm not big on Black Rifle anymore, dude. They were linked to giving money to Democrat politicians, so I don't really buy Black Rifle. Though I do like that song by the founder of Black Rifle, that Christmas song. I ain't gonna lie, it's a funny song. But I don't that and calorically, dude, drinking canned coffees, dude, drinking the espresso energy coffees, dude, so high in calories, dude. Just drink a 10-calorie Ghost, dude. Just grab a Ghost, dude. Just grab a Ghost or a White Monster. You know what I'm saying? White Monster, old faithful White Monster's a route to go, dude. I'm base as fuck. What can I say, dude? All right, guys. It's going to be it for today. It's 4/28 and the big 2/6 is a Tuesday. We are full steam ahead, boys. Batten down the hatches and grab your shit and let's get through this offseason. I'm here with you. You're here with me, Mad Hatter Nation. We will get through it together. Before you know it, training camp will be underway, and we will be arguing over 6th cornerback slots and how Nick Whiteside is better than Keith Abney, and Keith Abney is pushing Nick Whiteside, and oh God, this player was seen coming up limp for 4 plays at a practice, and oh man, and honestly, I can't wait for it, dude. I can't wait. I need the fucking season to get here, dude. I need football back. I don't like the UFL. It's trash. It's garbage. It ain't methadone no more. It ain't itching it for me no more, dude. You know what I'm saying? So you guys have a good rest of your day. Stay out of trouble. Enjoy that second joint, Brent. You know what I'm saying, dude? I'm gonna enjoy my last day of vacation before we get back to the slot. vlog tomorrow. We will be back here tomorrow, though, with you guys at 10 a.m. right here at YouTube Rumble and Kick. Until then, I'm Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. We'll catch you then. Bye.